What's up, hobby friends, and welcome to my vlog video for the month of August, recapping what I got accomplished in July, what my plan is for the month of August, and then I'm going to quickly also do an overview of what I have left to paint for the rest of the year, sort of build a roadmap, and then reevaluate sort of my goal for having no unpainted models by the end of 2022. So right in front of you, what you can see is everything I actually managed to get painted in the month of July. And I'm honestly surprised, starting with the month of June and then leading into July and then probably into August as well. There's just something about army painting when I'm working on simple tabletop pieces that really lends itself to just cranking them out, and especially going with the simple color schemes for my Nighthaunt and now my Blood Angels or Wildcat appears. I can get a lot done quickly, and it's sort of an exponential morale boost. The more I get done, the more motivated I am to keep painting. So I started off the month working on my Black Order, so all 6 models along with Thanos the Mad Titan. And I honestly expected this to take the majority of the month. The unit itself took a little longer than I expected, probably by about a week. But then that balanced out because Thanos only took a couple of days when I expected him to take much longer after having painted the Hulk Buster. So that was nice. It left me with quite a bit of spare time to build and paint. Not a significant portion if we're talking points-wise, but just in terms of model count, I would say this is just under half of my 3,000 point list. So we've got my Praetor, we've got 20 Salt Marines, 10 Tactical Marines in the back, and then my completed Leviathan. So this is probably it's 380, 190, so 570. There are 100 points, so 670, and then he's 350. So 10, 20. So just a little over 1,000 points. But body-wise, we're looking at 32 models. So that's good. It's a good head start to my army. So if you are a subscriber to my Patreon, you'll know that I had a full-length, fairly lengthy tutorial video on how to paint all 6 of the Black Order. So all 6 of them, not including Thanos. So that was released on my Patreon in the month of July. And then I actually just finished editing the 2-part video series on Thanos, and he'll be going up on Patreon for August. So I'll have one, I believe it's about an hour and a half video covering the recipe and the techniques for actually painting Thanos, and then another hour-long video that breaks down the application of light and shadow. We talk about some of the foundational shapes, how to work through placement of light and shadow, reflected light and primary and secondary, and then we apply that to every single part of Thanos in a pretty detailed breakdown aimed mainly at painters who really want to deep dive into the theory and the specifics of how we approach Thanos, and then hopefully that'll give you a good foundational knowledge that you can then apply to your own other miniatures. And so here you have my 3,000 point list for my Blood Angel army, and this is pretty much my firm goal to get painted for the month of August. So basically the goal is to have all of this done by the end of the month, or hopefully sooner, and I can start playing some fully painted, I want to say full-size games. I know that there has been some talk within our group of potentially even going higher, largely because at 3,000 points, we're not using any Primarchs, and even 3,000 points feels kind of small in terms of fitting in a lot of the toys and stuff that you want to bring. So if we do ever expand to 4,000 or 5,000 points, I have some of the models, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how many games we actually end up getting. For now, 3,000 points is my goal. So I already have the Praetor, the 20 Assault Marines, the 10 Tacticals, and the Leviathan fully painted. And what I have left is Vigilator, Jump Chaplain, an Apothecary detachment with 4 Apothecaries. You can see I've got the bases done. I still need to airbrush the infantry before I glue them together. I've got my 5 Saturnine Terminators, which are my counts as Paladins. I have a Rhino that's a work in progress. All the armor's done. I just need one more painting session tonight to finish the little details like metallics, black elements, and decals, along with the tracks. I've got my Incaendus Contemptor, so my Jump Pack Contemptor. And then I've got 3 squads of 10 Dawnbreakers. So that's my full 1,000 points. In terms of models, I've already got, I think, a fair amount done, so just under half. I was averaging about 2 days for every 10 models between the Assault Squad and the Tactical Marines. I think the Dawnbreakers being a little more complex, I'll probably end up spending 3 days for every 10. Let's call it 9 days for the squad, 3 for the Jump Pack Dread, 2 for each of the heroes. Call it 3 for the Apothecaries, another 2 for the Terminators, and then 1 for the Rhino. That is what, like 22, 23 days? A little over 3 weeks. And that should give me some time in the rest of the month just to take a day or two here or there to either do some video editing, take a break, work on a Marvel model or 2 for this ongoing commission when I need a break, and just give me a bit of sort of leeway to be able to get it all done at the end of the month without really stressing too much. And I guess while I have the army pulled out, I want to talk briefly about the video content I have planned for my Blood Angels. So for the month of August, and then I think for another 2 weeks in September, I'm going to have a series of 5 videos on my painting process for this army. So I'll have one where I paint a Dawnbreaker Sergeant. I'll have one where I paint the Leviathan Dreadnought as a larger vehicle. I'll have one where I focus on painting the white armor of the Apothecary. A separate video entirely where I cover painting the different power weapons I have in the army. So if you'll notice, I already have 3 different colored types of weapons. I have blue for my generic power weapons. I have purple for my specialist weapons. I'm talking Paragon Blades. I'm going to have my Falling Star Spears. I'm going to have my Sunset Blades, and they'll all be in that same purple tone. And then where I have my Perdition weapons, I've got this yellow, orangey, flame, lava style. So I'll have a video covering those 3. And then one overall at the very end where I actually cover the tips and techniques, mostly tips that I've learned and developed over the years when it comes to speed painting and working on armies. And this is pretty much my pile of quote-unquote shame and what I'm hoping to do by the end of the year. It's going to be really aggressive in terms of painting schedules, and I'm trying to leave at least a couple of weeks in December and then maybe a week or 2 in September where I'm not painting because I know I'm going to be out of town or just anticipating things happening for the holidays, etc. So again, really aggressive, but I'm going to try. Even if I fail and I miss a couple of the bigger things like some of these busts or maybe some of the Blood Angel stuff because it's not being used, not the end of the world for me. If I can make a big enough dent in this where I only have a handful of models unpainted at the start of 2023, I think I'll be in a good place. So moving left to right, this is my Horus Heresy stuff. So I've got 2 Daredeos. I've got a Leviathan, a Forge World Leviathan, and a Forge World Contemptor, along with Sanguinius, and then the Kratos and the Spartan. So at 5k, I end up using both Leviathans, another Contemptor Dreadnought jump pack, 1 Daredeo, Sanguinius, and then I still need to pick up 20 Despoilers and an Apothecary. Now, if we don't play 5k games, not a big deal. I can just not play any of it and just paint it for fun. I don't use the Spartan or the Kratos at all, so I'll paint them when I feel like it, but I'm not really into tanks. I'll get back to Shadow Sun. In the center and a bit of the right, I have my Marvel stuff. So in the front is my personal projects. So I've got Moon Knight, Spider-Ham for funsies, War Machine, Hawkeye, Nebula and Gamora, a couple of A-Force models, so Domino, Crystal, Scarlet Witch, Enchantress. I've got Angela here, Black Bolt, who cares, Cable, Lockjaw, and then Quicksilver. And then I've got the Sanctum Sanctorum, 2 trucks, and a bus. I had plans to add a couple more additional things like a gas station and a bus station and all that. I think looking at this and just working through the schedule, I'm going to just mentally not print anything for Marvel, not pick up anything for Marvel until I've got this all done. Back here is my commission backlog. So we've got a whole bunch of Marvel stuff. Some of it is a little more urgent than others. So there's Mysterio, there's a Lizard, Miss Marvel, Nick Fury, and the Shield grunts, things like that. I've got another commission project. This is for the ongoing House Tyrannus. So I think in here it's another 3 Cataphon Breachers and 2 Iron Striders. And he wants me to record a couple of videos for those as well. So I think I'll probably do a couple of those in September and release the videos on YouTube. And then in the front here, I have a couple of larger pieces. So we're talking like 75mm figures and some busts. I've got a Roman officer from Nocturna Miniatures. I've got a Sister of Battle bust from Urvara. Really cool. I think this was a limited release. I can't get them anymore. I've got a custom sculpted Celtic Marauder. So I actually did the miniature concept art for this one, and then we had an artist sculpt it, and then we casted it for our local event for Sword and Brush. Now, the pandemic happened, so we didn't actually end up having this for a couple of years. We are aiming to have this in our show in September for sale, so I want to paint this up just to have as a display figure. Papa Jimbo bust. I've got a Hoplite. I don't remember the manufacturer for this. And then we've got Cybergirl from Black Sun Miniatures. So I've been painting a lot of Marvel miniatures for my Patreon, a lot of smaller stuff. And honestly, it's getting kind of boring, both for myself and I think also for the people who subscribe to my Patreon. I think I want to have a little bit more variety now that I've got, I think it's like 55, 60 videos on Marvel miniatures, because a lot of those recipes end up just being the same. A lot of techniques is for tabletop. I wanted to just sort of branch into a couple more larger display pieces, focus on doing 1 video per month, maybe 2 depending on the length, but focusing on centerpieces, display pieces, things that you might paint for display and not for gaming, where I think the approach ends up being a little bit different and you can end up spending more time lavishing on those details. So I think for September, I'll be painting the Saxon. Well, I'll paint him in August. He'll go up on Patreon for September. And then the goal is to have at least 1 per month of one of these, starting with the Roman officer and the Hoplite, and then maybe the Sister of Battle. And then in December, either Cybergirl or Papa Jimbo, or maybe both of them. We'll see how it goes. I think those will be fun to work on. And then Shadow Sun, I picked up for, there was supposed to be a local painting contest in the middle of July that I wanted to take part in. Just scheduling-wise, it didn't end up happening. I ended up not having the free time to paint it, and then I wouldn't have had the Saturday free to drive over to Durham or Oshawa, or wherever the shop is. It's like an hour east, and basically spend the day. Didn't end up having the time just for scheduling. I knew weeks in advance, so I ended up not working on this, but I still do want to paint it. I love painting Tau. I haven't painted it in a while, and I want to turn it into a pseudo display piece as well. So whenever I have the time and the motivation, I'll build her up, paint it. I don't think she'll end up taking a lot of time to paint, because she is mostly just white armor with some black detailing. So fit that in. And that's pretty much it. That's my snapshot for the rest of 2022. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy sort of the progress I've taken in the past couple of months on some of my army projects, both for Black Order as well as for my Blood Angels. I'm hoping to get the Blood Angels done in the next month, maybe 2 for the 3K and leading up to 5K. And then I'm hoping to just continue to provide updates every month for the rest of the year on this pile of shame. So we'll just cross off things as they go, and hopefully you'll help keep me accountable. If you want to check out my other social media platforms, as always, I'll make sure to have links in the video description below. And as always, until next time, happy hobbying.